So now the GTA 6 trailer has come out, it's time to look at some of the vehicles that are in it. Now I will do a video on the cars, but something that really stood out to me from the trailer was the boats. And me being a massive boat nerd, I can't wait to explore the world and the various different watercraft that we can see in the GTA 6 trailer. So without further ado, let's go through the trailer and have a look at some of the boats that we can see throughout it. But before we get into today's video, if you do enjoy this video or you like looking at boats, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm trying to grow the channel, and every single like, comment, subscription, etc. all helps. Thank you so much. So the first thing to note, down here there is a boat which looks like a model from GTA 5. Nothing interesting about that, so we're going to move on. Oh, let's back that up a little bit. So down here we have a catamaran. Now a catamaran is a boat that has two hulls, so most of the time catamarans are yachts. Obviously in this case it's a motorcraft, it's a boat. Very interesting about this as a flybridge, so we can potentially drive the boat from the top, drive the boat from inside. I want to know if the boats in this game have interiors. So in GTA 5 the boats really didn't have interiors and they weren't very complex models. For all intents and purposes, the boats and the jet skis had very similar physics involved in them. I'll be very interested to see how the physics engine works in GTA 6 and how the boats convey weight within the game. Very excited to drive this. Oh, and we've got another speedboat down here. Once again, that's not too different from what we see in GTA 5, so I'm not going to linger on that too long. And we've got some jet skis over here as well. So here we have a fan boat, which is really cool. And you can see there's someone sat on the front of it. And let's just look at how their hair moves. The hair has really realistic physics. But fan boat's going to be a really common thing. Obviously, this is supposed to be like the Florida Everglades. I think it's called grass rivers in Grand Theft Auto. It's going to be really cool to explore in this. Now, something I'm really interested about, and it's very nerdy, but bear with me. Boats that have propellers in the water or jets in the water, they have a very, very noticeable physics to them. So it's either on or off. But something like this, like a fan boat, the propeller has to get up to speed before it starts moving the craft. So very interesting to see how the physics of an airboat would behave. Right, there's a lot to dissect here. So it looks like there's a trailer down here which is either dropped off a small speedboat or a jet ski. Two jet skis here, and these two jet skis are different models. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's only one model of jet ski in GTA 5. So already we've got two here. Now here there is three race boats. It looks like the model on the left and the model in the middle here are potentially the same. They look like they have the similar hull, similar modeling. Obviously the boat on the right is very different. Something that I'm really interested about as well is ships in this game. Hopefully we can drive ships, because in previous GTAs we haven't been able to pilot ships, and I think it'd be pretty cool just to waft around in one of these big boys. Yeah, very interesting. Is that a tugboat back there? I might not be seeing that correctly, but it looks like a tugboat back there, which we have been able to drive in previous GTAs. Right, so this shot here, so this is the first shot of the game that really made me think, okay, there's a lot of watercraft. And by the way, I'm aware that this is a very niche topic, so if you're watching this and you have a similar interest in Grand Theft Auto and boats, I salute you. So there's a lot of different boat models down here. So that is one model. That's two models, three models. That looks different to that one, so say that's four models. That looks like the catamaran we saw in the opening shot over here. So that's a completely different model of boat. That looks relatively similar to this one over here, but it could be different. These two sailing boats, I think they're the same sort of model. Everything over there is too far away to see. Got a small little speedboat here, like a kind of 80s wooden sort of looking speedboat. Got another boat here. We got ourselves a super yacht, which that'll be really cool. When super yachts were introduced to GTA Online, I think it was in 2015 or 2016, I bought one of them in the game, and it was, at the time, you couldn't explore them the same way you can now. And for me, it was like the biggest waste of money. Like, you couldn't do anything with it, and you couldn't even drive it. You could pay to have it moved, but you couldn't actually drive it. So hopefully in this, we can actually drive the boats that we buy. I'm trying to see if there's any of the boats on land, maybe on trailers or anything. Oh, this is interesting. So down here we have, it's not a dock, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a boat ramp, but for bigger boats. They use the cranes with the big straps. I'm really interested to see how the physics of boat ramps and boating work in GTA. Once again, I know it's very niche and it's a very nerdy topic. And also there's a lot more here to unpack about lighting, dynamics, vehicles, but in this video I am just focusing on the boats. Right, so this shot as well was the second shot, because the first shot obviously was only a second or two, so I didn't really get to dissect it, but in this shot it unveils a lot more. So on the right here we've got one of the super yachts. Down here it looks like we got a rib, which we had in GTA 5. Another big but small relatively boat down here. Jet ski, I'm assuming. Another boat down there. We'll get to these in a second. Another catamaran there. Oh, another super yacht in the distance. This is something that's really amazing. I know it's not related to the boats, but the draw distance. So in gaming, the draw distance is how far into the distance it can render, and it's rendering boats and objects all the way over here, which in previous Grand Theft Auto titles it would render till about here. In fact, cars about here would start disappearing, so it's pretty interesting. I'm just trying to think if there's any of the boats over here. Right, so the container ship. I'm not sure how they're going to implement this. Like, it'd be really cool if you could drive container ships the same way that you can fly jumbo jets in GTA 5. It'd be really cool if you can drive these, but like rather than just push a button and you're magically inside controlling it, like you actually get to go on board. You have to like steal them, pirate the ships. That would be a really interesting mechanic. And I know a lot of people aren't interested in big, slow boats, but for people that are into the roleplay side of things and the more realistic side, and I'd say I'd gravitate a bit more towards that. This is really cool. Like, it's really interesting. I'm very interested to see how this is implemented in the game. And obviously Rockstar know that people want realism, because otherwise they wouldn't have bothered putting this in the trailer. And down here as well, so this isn't a powered craft, this is pretty much like a pontoon with heavy items on it. Or it could be a very small powered craft, but really interesting to see how the mechanics of that work. Weirdly, I'm more excited about this than I am about this. Maybe just as excited about that. And we've got a catamaran over here, speedboats. The usual. Oh, and I think that's a tug over there, maybe? Aircraft and everything we're not going to go into in this video. In the top right hand corner over there, you can see the wake from a jet ski or a small boat. The draw distance is crazy. So this is pretty cool as well. To be able to have NPCs in this much density, so many of them on the front of a boat. Like NPCs in GTA, it's like one or two people behind the wheel of a vehicle. They're not actually moving around on the vehicle. They're either driving it or they're just a walking pedestrian going past it. On here, there's people taking part in activities on the bow of a boat, which is pretty cool because it adds more life and adds more realism. So something else as well, ignore the alligator. So these are petrol stations, and obviously boats require fuel just as much as cars do. It's very clear that there's probably going to be a refueling mechanic built into GTA 6, so whether that extends out to boats or not, it'd be really interesting to see. So I could be wrong about this, it is kind of hard to tell, but is that a trailer in the background, or is that just another vehicle? Let me just rewind. So it looks like there's a trailer back there behind that Julie. It's really hard to see, it's really like misleading and difficult to tell, but there could be a trailer back there with a boat or a vehicle on it. Maybe you have to refuel vehicles as well. Yeah, it kind of goes back into what I was saying about the refueling boats. So yeah, that covers the boat side of things. I think there's probably one or two I maybe missed. It's really hard to tell. I'm really curious to see what Rockstar are going to do with boats and the boat physics within the game and the mechanics of the boat. You know, do you have to refuel them? How many people can you have in a boat? Does having 25 people on a boat make it sink? I don't know. Like, all of this sort of stuff is the stuff that I'm really interested in. I'm really excited to see how it plays out. So if you did find today's video enjoyable, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel a lot, and I'll see you all in the next video.